G'day golfers. Ever found yourself redirecting blame and making excuses after having an absolute shocker on a golf course? I know that I have. Range was closed, I was a little cold, didn't warm up, I hit it in those 3 old divots. Then we have the podcast for you. We focus on how to fundamentally own your swing. Strike it pure and consistently shoot in the 70s. Be it if you're a weekend hack, retired and playing daily, a school phenom or a tour professional. We present and discuss facts and physics pertaining to golf, trying to keep our ego and opinion at bay. We dispel myths such as keep your head down, bend your knees, or my all-time favourite, game improvement irons. So stop drinking that mythical Kool-Aid and have a sip of ours. I think you'll find it both inspiring and refreshing. I'm Scott Young, founder of Swing, PGA professional and ex-tour player. Welcome to Pivot the Path. G'day golfers and welcome to Pivot the Path. Trust this finds you well. We've had a great week here at Swing. Golf starts to ramp up here as we start to get nice and warm. We've had a fair bit of rain in the northeast, obviously illustrated by the PGA Tour event down at Cricketers outside of Philly. So we hope this finds you well and absolutely after a fantastic Mother's Day weekend with all respective mums and mums-to-be. So congratulations, mums, for all you do for us. And we're super excited to start group training again this year with Dr. Madison Maisel coming on board. So we had a bit of a hiatus from the group training here at Swing, and all our Swing community really missed that. And I missed it too. So we are absolutely pumped to start that again this morning. We do 6 weeks running courses and just about delivering better stability, mobility. And the wonderful thing about the group training in here, and people often ask, well, hang on, how do you know that this exercise is good for me? So as a hypermobile individual who needs stability, I get things from exercises that less mobile people maybe who are a little more stable, and they get different things from the same exercise. So what we do here is pare down exercises. One exercise, someone who lacks a little bit of stability like myself will breeze through the more mobile exercises, and someone who lacks a little bit of mobility will find those same exercises a little different and vice versa. So the one exercise, and we do 4 little stations, and each station has 2 exercises. Different people get different things from them. So we're super pumped with that, and we're going to jump into that a little bit with the improvement pivot point on how we can stabilize the pelvis to gain a little more hip mobility. More about that in a little bit. News from the fairways. We've got Korn Ferry not playing this week. So we presume that's because the PGA Tour had their double week. The DP Tour Turkish Airlines was won by Frenchman Martin Courrier, 22-year-old big blonde-headed bloke, first win on DP Tour. So mate, absolutely shout out Martin. I just love when you have first-time winners, and it's just such a great thing to see a young kid chase his dream and win his dream. So Turkish Open, that is just brilliant news. The LPGA was played just in our back door here at Liberty National. Phenomenal little private course where you can take the ferry from Manhattan to the golf course, owned by the Fireman family. Jeeno Thitikul won again. I think it's her 5th or 6th LPGA tour event. She smashed it, 17 under, won by a few. The golf course is spectacular with these beautiful views of Manhattan. And we know that our local community here, several of our Swing members went out and looked at that LPGA Open. So fantastic event. We hope that they continue to grow. We didn't hear a lot about on the advertising. You've got to advertise more with us, LPGA Tour. Invite us in. Get us to drink some of your Kool-Aid so we go out in there and watch that. So the LIV event had a slightly different format this weekend. It was kind of a co-sanctioned LIV event to promote the LIV Tour in and around Asia. So it was a co-sanction with the Asian Tour. And very proudly, Lucas Herbert, the chap we mentioned last week playing such good golf, he came out and won the International Series Japan. And he shot 20 under, which was pretty damn good. This is so funny. And he used a putter that he found in a thrift shop store in Korea the week before. So here's a guy who's just bunting around, probably kicking some time after his tour event and the LIV event in Korea. Obviously picks up a putter in a thrift event, uses it and goes on to win. So I find that hysterical. As I said last week, Lucas beats to the tune of a different drum. He is a phenomenally talented young man, and fantastic that he got that done. So he's only won a couple of times, so it's great that he starts to get some ascendancy, because as we know, professional golf is, and any golf, is all about creating momentum. So going into the PGA and the US Open, hopefully Lucas can grab that momentum and really run with that ball. So we just love him. 23 putts in the final round with a thrift shop putter. So next time you go out and want to dump, hundreds and hundreds of dollars on a putter, just maybe make sure that your technique's looking pretty good, your eye dominance and your alignment, and use that flat stick that you have. And then that brings us to the PGA Tour, with Sepp Straka winning his second event this year, down in the signature Truist event. He actually just played really solid golf. It's a shame that we had such wet weather, because the Philly Cricket Club, it's the oldest country club in the US, 1854, which is absolutely unbelievable. It's quite a short golf course, but it was a shame that we had so much rain, because the club and the golf course is protected by the greens and the undulation. Generally speaking, the greens are rock hard. And because that wasn't the case, the players ate it up. What did Streka? He won, finishing 16 under. Usually that's not the case, because the greens are so hot and fast. But because of the rain, it was lift clean in place. And unfortunately, the course really softened. So it was an interesting time too on PGA Tour. They interviewed quite a few of the players, and a lot of the players commented on how brilliant and how much they would love to play more tour events out here in the Northeast, specifically Long Island, up in New Jersey. They've got some really world-class golf courses. My guess is, because these are such high-end, expensive, private golf courses for the most part, the cost to actually present a PGA Tour event must be pretty high. So my guess is it comes down to cost, but I actually don't know that. So anyone who knows, shout us out, send us a wiki in here, because all these golf courses, National, Sabonic, Friars Head, it would be magnificent to hold PGA Tour events. We know that a golf tournament, having been in and around it for 20 years, a lot of the time the golf course, you've got to present a golf course based on car parking space. Does the golf course support undulation so the crowd and the galleries can watch? And so sometimes it's the off logistics type of thought process that is the reason why a golf course isn't held in a tour event. But we would love to get more PGA Tour events here in the Northeast. There's hardly any. So PGA Tour, kind of bring some back to Long Island, Jersey, bring them back to North New York there. Century, where Ben Hogan grew up. There's so many brilliant golf courses that we'd love to hold tour events. And certainly the players like to welcome that. We've got the Ryder Cup out at Bethpage, but I know we've got a lot more to offer than Bethpage. So that brings us to our improvement pivot point. And Dr. Matty Maisel is going to be running our group training here in about 20 minutes. And one of the exercises that we're doing, we thought we'd share with you today, because it provides such brilliant pelvic stability. Now remember, your femoral head turns up, it has 90 degrees, the femoral head goes into your acetabulum, right? And how your hips move is independent from how the pelvis moves. Pelvis tilts for the large part, flexion and extension, and the hips move in internal and external rotation. Now, what you've got in internal rotation, how much you move that femoral head inside that pelvis, is largely what you've got. Very, very difficult to improve internal rotation. External rotation we can improve a little bit. But that internal rotation, so as a right-handed golfer, my lead hip is internally rotating. Largely what you've got's what you've got. But actually stabilizing the pelvis to allow those hips to move, we can greatly improve that. So Maddie got me on an adductor test where she laid me on my side and my top leg was slightly elevated and kicked out. And she just tested my hip stability, and it was appalling. So every day I've been doing her exercises for a lateral band walk that I must have seen it perform for 20 years. But where Maddie and where swing is so on point is that we just make sure that when you do an exercise, it's done pedantically well. And what I'm finding is glutes on fire. That's going to, when my pelvis stabilizes and my glutes stabilize, now my hips can rotate far more efficiently. And remember, I've got 68 degrees of internal rotation in my left hip, but if my glutes can't stabilize, my body can't activate and control that. So stability for me promotes far better mobility. So I thought, let's get into it and we'll show you how it's done. Okay, so what we're going to do is just grab some TheraBand. We're going to very quickly tie this. This is a super simple exercise, and I can't tell you how long I've seen this exercise being performed by physical therapists, but probably not correctly and certainly not precisely. So I've seen this round the knees, but what I find is that then the knees have to work twice as hard, and it's a glute exercise. So we're going to grab a TheraBand. I've just got the band on top of my toes with the knot up. Really simple. I'm going to turn side on. Now this whole exercise is picking your feet up, never getting your feet together because then we lose that stability component. And as I'm forcing my feet out, I can already feel my glutes absolutely on fire working. If my glutes stabilize, my hips turn, remember? The more stability in the glutes, the more our hips can internally and externally rotate. So because I'm so anteriorly tilted, there's my neutral posture. I've always got to work posterior tilt. So for me, it's chest to ball, tiny bit of knee flex, arms on chest, and then from there, posteriorly tilt, and then I'm walking 10 times each way, and I'm keeping constant pressure on the band. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now my feet never touch, and I always keep pressure. After 10, make sure I'm in that posterior tilt neutral pelvis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Posterior tilt, neutral pelvis. And what we do is when we stabilize the glutes, our golf swing will improve because our hips can disassociate, quieten the chest, and remember, the club face will stay square to the body, face less than path. All right, this exercise is to get you to absolutely own your swing. The more the hips move, the less the face does, and the face will be less than path, but slightly open to target. Beauty golfers, remember you can absolutely own your swing with the work you put into your game off the golf course. Thank you so much for the support. So remember, newsletter drops Friday, and then come into swing when you're in New York City and you can absolutely own your swing. We'll see you next week. Cheers.